Hello, and welcome aboard this conversation with an extraordinary traveller. This is Traveller's World. Ricky, great to see you at the Extraordinary Travel Festival, and thanks for chatting with us at Traveller's World, which is presented in partnership with Travel Daily News Asia Pacific. Now, you're the best dressed person at this event, I'm told, and you're wearing a tie and looking great. You're also a man of mystery. I don't know what you're doing, but I believe your middle name could be 007. Can you tell me about your travel experiences?
Wow, well, we never even met. And word travels fast about me, I see. Yes, this is partially influenced from William Bakeland, which is a whole other separate story. But my travel style has been a bit more off the grid in terms of I travel very deeply and extensively within countries. I live for extended periods of time. I have a very different focus when I travel, as opposed to many of the other travelers in this conference, where to really live in the country, to get passports, residence in the country.
And you're going deep.
Yeah, and to really go deep, learn the language, get the bank accounts, live like a local, spend years at a time, and try to bring value to that country by doing business, doing some sort of investing, so learning about how the country works and how to really make a change and a difference in that country by building up some infrastructure or investing in some projects. And
So where were you born? Where did you grow up?
I was originally born in America, but I grew up in the UK, and so I'm a mixture of both. Yes.
And what countries have you travelled to? I've met some people who've chased 193 and they've visited all 193 nations. I've met some other people who've only been to 10 countries and have got so immersed and deeply into those countries. Which places have you been to so far and lived in?
I'm more like the latter that you just mentioned. I've really spent a lot of time in all the countries I've visited. I've visited around 40 countries. But I make it my priority to spend at least a month in each place, really travel around and explore it. When I go to a place, it's much more finding out the business opportunities, learning about how the country really works and the economics and the politics of the place. I've traveled, done big road trips around Mexico and Latin America. I've traveled all across the Soviet countries, all the former Soviet countries, learned Russian, lived in Russia for many years. So that has been my speciality. This year, since becoming part of this crazy travel group, they've pushed me more to also travel to more exotic locations like Syria, Equatorial Guinea, Afghanistan, which are places that sometimes one needs a little bit of a push to go. But they paved the way, and I'm really grateful to have this community of supporting and helpful people. It's such an endeavor.
Are there times where you arrive at a place and say, what on earth am I doing here?
That's, I think, what the feeling of the people want when they travel. They like to be thrown into this chaos and discomfort, the overstimulation and the absolute novelty of a place that's so different from what they're used to. That's why many travelers like Japan or Afghanistan or Africa. It's because it's so different from what we've grown up to it and are used to in the West.
And what surreal moment would you have had in your life so far travelling where you say, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm here?
All the time. I mean, just some of the things that you end up seeing while you travel are just so bizarre sometimes and so chaotic that it seems like a fairy tale, you know.
Can you share an example, a story that's been bizarre and like a fairy tale?
Honestly, everything, the biggest thing that comes to my mind always that I'll never forget. I was in a taxi in Bangladesh, driving along the freeway, and we saw a guy on an elephant just walking through the middle of the freeway. And he was basically a homeless man. He asks people for money, and then if you don't give him money, he'll crush your car with his elephant. And it's just that's probably the most bizarre thing I've ever seen, and I will never forget this image that I have in my mind from that time.
How about food? You travel the world, and obviously, food is part of culture, and you get very immersed in a destination culture. What are some of the best places to go for a taste experience?
In each country, I mean, every place has amazing cuisine. Obviously, there's huge variations, but the best places that I always like to go, how I judge a place is not by the number of reviews, but the number of how popular a place is. So I sometimes try to find a place where there's no foreigners, really just a very popular local spot, busy, bustling. Usually the markets are good for places like that, because sometimes it's very divided, the tourist sections and the real local sections.
I've met over the course of the day very wealthy, near billionaire who's traveled the world, to people with modest income who couch surf and have traveled the world. How do you fund your travel? Do you work when you go to a destination? Say you're in a destination and you're there for a few years. Do you work, or like at lunch I was discussing with the crew, how can you fund global travel?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, everyone, like you said, has a very different style and comes from many walks of life. A lot of what I've noticed is a very popular theme is the digital nomad, the programmer, they work online. And I have done that quite a lot in the past, but more and more these days I've leaned into real estate and investing. So not just real estate, but also cryptocurrency and trading on the stock market and foreign exchanges. I've ended up also creating different businesses, a couple in Africa, and import, export, and reselling jewels, electronics. There's so much opportunity and interesting projects that you can get your hands in all these different countries if you ask and meet with the lawyers and really delve deep into the country. So much options to make money all around the world.
And when you travel as you do and get really immersed in a destination, how does that impact relationships with family and friends? Because if you're nomadic and moving every 3-5 years, how do you maintain your family relationships? Or is it a lonely lifestyle?
It is quite a lonely lifestyle. I don't think anyone here would disagree with this statement. I think that it is a huge sacrifice. A lot of these crazy travelers, they have traveled to all the world, but they also have very difficult relationships with their family often. Maintaining the friendships is difficult because you need to be around these people for their daily activities to really have that relationship. And even romantic relationships. A lot of people here, they have gone through many divorces. It's very difficult to maintain a girlfriend or boyfriend when you're on the road and if you go for long periods of time. And so that is a sacrifice that a lot of people make. People, you either work and you sacrifice not traveling and you have stability, or you travel but then other aspects of your life will have to fall to the wayside a little bit, unfortunately.
And for all the places that you visited, which one would you like to call home, excluding your existing home?
I would say Russia, for sure. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been, and it's so large and so deep, historic, cultural tapestry that I truly consider that my home, and I would be happy to live there all my life. Yes.
And what advice would you give to a young traveller who's aspiring to travel the world? What piece of advice would you give them? Do it, don't do it, stay home. Do it, but go immersive like you've done and really get to know the destination, or just skimp over 193 countries?
Oh, yes. I think start slow. Don't get overwhelmed, because I got very overwhelmed by far experienced travelers, like especially the ones here. Start slow, visit a few countries from the beginning, and then really see what you like. Play it by ear, be flexible. Sometimes you can go fast through a place if you don't like it. Sometimes spend a couple months. There's no wrong or right way to travel. And learning the language and really spending the time, I would say, the more you spend, the more you will really learn the place. And not just be, I like it, but you'll actually see the negatives as well as the positives.
great advice. Thank you so much for meeting us today at Traveller's World. Enjoy the rest of the Extraordinary Travel Festival and keep travelling.
Of course, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it.